Today, we are going to make some grass. No, I'm not in Colorado, so it's not going to be that kind of grass. It's our techniques that are so simple and sensible, your mowers will practically build themselves.
Hello folks, it's Mad Dog Merv and welcome to today's show. Today we are starting a new segment that will run every once in a while. This segment is going to be called Model Graveyard Cars. I didn't want to do graveyard cars because that's already kind of been taken by the guys who rebuild all those Mopars up in Springfield, Oregon. Actually been up there, delivered their phone books for a couple of years, been to the shop there, and it kind of dawned on me just recently with some of the new acquisitions that I've got. I've got several models that are somebody else built or somebody else started, and they're just kind of in a graveyard. I'm going to show you how I bring them back. And I've done this before in a couple of different segments where I've taken an already built car, stripped it down, and redone it. So this isn't really new to the channel, but I decided we're going to go ahead and name the segment if that makes any sense. So today we're going to have installment number 1 of Model Graveyard Cars. This is a kit that is, or this is a model car that is been out of production for a while, quite a while. When you try to find it on eBay, it's another one of those that even built, if you can find one, you're going to spend upwards of $100, and an unbuilt kit is just through the roof. I needed a hood for mine, and yeah, it's not like I could find that in anybody's parts box anywhere. So I had to make my own. We'll talk a little bit about that, and we'll kind of go through some of the techniques I use to bring these back from the graveyard. So stick with Mad Dog Merv, as today we look at, I want to say it's a 1973 Javelin, but it's the AMX 1973. Yeah, let's take a look at it.
Well, so here's our project. I got this in a trade for a bunch of other stuff from a friend of mine, and what he likes to do is he likes to customize models by putting all sorts of stuff on them, particularly the engine, but other places too. Knowing that this is an old and rare kit, I thought this would go really well with my 4th of July display. I already have something that's Mopar, I have something that's Ford, I have something that's GM, and I really wanted something that's AMC. Problem is, this didn't come with a hood. It's such a rare kit. I've been searching for over a year on eBay to try and find like a spare hood, to no avail, so I'm going to have to make one. And I'm going to tear this thing all apart. The paint isn't terrible, but it definitely needs a refresh. So we're going to go ahead and get started with that. It's very simple to disassemble. Just pry here, pry there, and it came apart. Use some tape to get rid of the decals. And you can see here he had cut out part of the rocker panel down there for an exhaust that he'd put on it. And the white was just the bare plastic. So I do have some work ahead of me. I started out by filling this this panel with some putty and some styrene, some sheet styrene, and it came out pretty good. I had to fill and sand just a couple of times. And for the hood area, I went ahead and put these strips to help represent the inner fender areas and to help the hood sit as level as I can get, let's put it that way. So once I had the decals off, which I took off with just some tape, I decided to try the Tamiya lacquer thinner and use that to remove the paint. It was a little bit slow going, but it worked just fine. I decided not to use Easy Off Oven Cleaner. I thought this would be a fun thing to try. Now, a couple things that you'll notice here. I went ahead and the way that the front windshield was, without destroying it, I had to leave it in. So I was going to have to clean it up. I was going to have to mask it off, both front and back, and then do my spraying. The blue was in pretty good shape, so I went ahead and just taped it off. And this area that I'd stripped behind here, well, I went ahead and sprayed it with my Mr. Surfacer 1000 to kind of get everything filled in that I needed. Gave it a light sanding, gave it another coat, and then a few minutes later tried to use some of my 2X white on this. Decided to use the spray can. That was a huge mistake. Shook it up really, really good. Sprayed it on here. My Mr. Surfacer had dried for an entire day, and you can see what the first coat looked like. I went, oh my gosh. So I wound up having to strip this off, start over again, and the next time around, I decanned the 2X primer, put it in my airbrush, and sprayed it, and believe it or not, it turned out just fine. So I don't know, go figure. Anyway, so with the white sprayed, I'm going to go ahead and build the hood just out of some sheet styrene, some thicker sheet styrene. Cut it to the shape I wanted it, but I wasn't going to be able to replicate the exact stock hood, which made me sad, but why not build a custom hood? So I did. Kind of raise this area in the middle, and then you can see kind of down the center there's that raised portion, very similar to what the stock hood was like. Did some gentle bending to try and get a little bit of a curvature to it, although it didn't turn out as good as I wanted, but it will be fine for what I'm going to do. So for the colors, the rest of the colors, I went ahead and mixed up some dark red enamel from Testors, along with this orange pearl that I have from Color by Boyd. That was going to be the red. I sprayed it on. Went ahead and masked my white again and sprayed some TS19 for the blue color, and I think it turned out really, really nice. I like how shiny they are and just the depth of the colors. Okay, so here's the interior. Oh boy. Yeah, I decided to go ahead and leave the door panels in the blue and the red, and then I'm going to put some carpet in it and a roll bar. And as you can see, freshened up the seats a little bit, painted them red, painted the rest of the interior, got my carpet in. This roll bar is from a 68 GT500 Mustang, and it fit in there pretty darn well. So I am happy with how the interior turned out on this particular build. The fire extinguisher was one that actually had come in with this kit, so I was fortunate there. And like I say, I do like how this turned out, so I'm happy with that. Now the engine, oh my goodness, look at this thing. It had these headers on it that didn't line up at all with the exhaust ports, and so I had to tear them off. And as you can see, when I tear it off, the valve covers are just kind of ruined. So I went ahead and put some stock valve covers I had, some stock manifolds on it, and this is where I'm at with it. I still need to do some detail work inside of the engine compartment and the engine itself, but for now, again, for the project I'm working on, it'll be fine. I would definitely like to do something different with the engine compartment. Okay, so the rocker panel, I went ahead and just painted on with a brush some of the Molotow liquid chrome. I think it turned out okay. You can kind of see here in the reflection. I like how it looks. And here is our finished product. Now I got these sport racing mirrors off of a 68 GT500 kit. Now the tires on the back are just a little too wide. I'm gonna have to go and put some other tires on the back end because it's just too yeah, it's rubbing a little bit too much. So but I didn't have time to change that before we put this video together. You'll notice I put the quarter windows in. That's just something that all kits don't have, and they should have. The windshield, after I cleaned that up, I went ahead and put some future floor polish on both sides of it to make it nice and clear. The back window is just some clear acetate. Even though it had a back window that was still viable, I went ahead and just used some clear acetate and put the back window in. And you can see I did the chrome with my Molotow and a thin paintbrush. And the hood is popped just a little bit there, but for now I think it's going to be okay. I think I'm going to go ahead and get some star decals and put all over the blue area. Again, this is part of my 4th of July display, so I want something a little bit flashier than just this red, white, and blue scheme. So I'll finish those things up, and you'll see it coming up in a 4th of July episode. So thanks for watching, folks. I hope you enjoyed this, and we'll see you again soon.